¿Qué ondas, primos?
Primas
y primes.
Welcome to
My Primos.
My Primos
Primo
Podcast. Welcome to the My Primos podcast.
My name is Freddie.
My name's Kevin Garcia.
My name is Elia Maria Madrid.
My name is Jonavina.
This is Chikume, whenever I can make it.
My Primos podcast discusses all things fandom and pop culture,
From comic books,
Movies?
To whatever obsession we have this week.
but with a Latine
my Latin,
perspective. Remember, we're all primos,
we're all primes.
Primas.
Primos.
no matter what part of the world we're from. ¿Qué ondas, primos, primas, and primes? And welcome back to My Primos podcast. I'm your primo, Freddie. And with me tonight, returning, thankfully returning. I couldn't handle just the boys anymore.
Oh.
We have Miss Spice Illustration, Elia Maria Madrid. Welcome back, Prima Elia. Say what's up,
Hey,
Elia.
what's up, Elia? I survived.
There it is, everybody. You're alive. You live.
I lived.
You live.
I lived.
You lived. Elia, we miss you, and I'm sure we'll get into that here.
Yeah.
We also have a guest joining us today. We have first-time visitor, but hopefully not the last. We don't no la asustamos, right? We have Bones of Calavera Cosplay. Say what's up, Bones, for all the primos out there.
Hola primos y primos, ¿cómo están?
Hey.
There it is, primos. We have Bones visiting us. So we're going to talk about her content. I kind of I'm a fan because I dig your stuff, your cosplay work. I dig your magic content as well. So we'll get into that. Of course, I want to see what Elia has been up to besides recovering and kind of primos. You know, we're always here about supporting each other. Remember, primos, follow us at My Primos Podcast and follow myprimospodcast.com for all your updates. And of course, as always, primos, let's dive right in and check in with each other. Elia,
Yeah.
I know Bones doesn't know this, but most people don't. You were out. You disappeared for a while. I did get some messages saying, when is Elia coming back? I'm tired of John. I'm tired of Kevin.
My God.
So you're back.
I am. I'm back and without gallbladder, but for the good. So, hey, got that sucker out. Turns out it was really bad. I didn't realize how bad it was until post surgery, but it's out. I'm already feeling a lot better. I'm still like on the healing path, but I'm ready to just get back to it and echándole ganas as much as I can.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I fortunately have not had to deal with any like surgery stuff, but my wife has and things like that, so I know it's not easy just to bounce back, but I'm glad you're here. You're here with us.
Yeah.
And Bones, for people that don't know you, how about you take a sec here, introduce yourself to all the primos out there and kind of what you're about.
Yeah, of course. So I am Bones of Calavera Cosplay. I'm an award-winning bilingual Mexican-American content creator, mostly in the world of Magic the Gathering, just because that takes up like 99.9% of my brain space up there. It also doesn't help that my husband's super into it and we just talk about it all the time. So, but I do other things. I do have other fandoms and other like interests. Just most of it happens to be Magic the Gathering. But yeah, I think right now, I'm actually going to MagicCon Vegas in like less than 2 weeks, which is terrifying because I'm competing and I have to keep building stuff, but we're just gonna ignore that deadline for now. And yeah, I'm gonna be a feature content creator there, and I'm very excited to hang out with some of my other Latino friends because one of the main things that we want to do is bring more representation into the world of just gaming in general, but also Magic the Gathering.
Absolutely.
Well, Bones, I 100% agree with that. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes down to that, the fact that when I ran into your content because of that, we talked about even offline, me and John are the big Magic players here. We got really excited because I found you when you were talking about the secret lair that Wizards is releasing, right? The one with, what is that?
Nuestra Magia?
What's it called? Nuestra Magia. So I'm going to share the screen here so people can see it. That way you can get an idea. That way we can kind of talk about it and go with it.
Freddie showed it to me and I legit gasped. Like I don't have a background in Magic, but just seeing the art, like, oh, I'm so excited for everybody. Like, oh, so cool.
They crushed it. I'm so in love with it. And like
it's gorgeous.
Would still say fairly newish to Magic, which sounds like really weird, but like I started playing around Kamigawa. So sorry, like Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, which is about 2-3 years
I'm like,
now.
Yeah, a couple years ago. Because I was thinking Kamigawa when I was playing, that was back in like 2000. You know what I mean? Like way back
Yeah.
when. Old school
Yeah.
Kamigawa, yeah.
So like when Ixalan was coming out, my husband was very excited because this would be the first time I was ever participating in something that was like participating in a plane that is very Hispanic coded.
Yeah.
But it's not like, I think it was well done in terms of it was vague enough that nothing was like 100% attached to each other, so the plane could have its own identity, but you could like still see what was inspiring most of the art and like the story behind it.
So John mentioned something, and I want to give him credit for it. He said, "You know what I enjoy about this?" He goes, "It's not just Mexican." He goes, "Because it could have been very easy to just make it very Mexican,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, I guess kind of in focused, for example, and it could have been things that were very pandering. But
Yeah.
everything on here, like even Elia said, like the art itself just
Oh,
hits a chord. Like
yeah.
look at the food token, for example. Like I mean, that's everything we grew up with in the culture. I'm from El
Yeah.
Salvador. I'm not Mexican, but shit, I have the tamales wrapped with the banana leaves.
Yeah. I was
That's
like,
what we do.
look at that. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like, and I love it. I love the look. I love how they went from
Oh,
one style
that
to another
card.
because
La danza, that
the La
art.
Danza del
Oh,
Pueblo.
good grief.
That's like Belize. That's like El Salvador because we use a lot of that kind of style, you know, as opposed to just
Mm-hmm.
the typical art. But even these things are gorgeous, and I love the fact that I have the choice to purchase them in Spanish. You know,
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
because
that
like
was one of the things I was very excited for.
How heckin'
yeah, I
cool.
love it. It's
Ugh.
really, really great. And the cool thing about this, and we'll touch about Secret Lair a little bit as well for the primos that are not aware of it, but Secret Lair are limited runs of cards with specific art that are just kind of end up being, I would say, a coin flip in the sense of, I don't know how to say it without really sounding just like I'm whining about it. I love what Secret Lair is. It's great treatments of cards that you may not be able to get your hands on at a certain point. If you're a fan of the art, you're going to get your hands on them, right? You're going to try to at least.
Yeah.
What I love about this, and we'll get into it, is that this is print on demand, meaning that when you pay
Thank
for it,
God.
thank God, when you pay for it, they will make your card and they will mail them out to you, however long that takes, right?
Mhm.
As opposed to uh, most secret layers are not. They are first come, first serve. There's no limit on purchases, and we get into the scalper game, which
Dang. Ugh. Always
it's
kills anything.
horrible.
And the unfortunate thing is that it's a recent switch. Like when I first got into Magic and we started doing secret layers, it was print to demand. And I've heard a multitude of reasons as to why we switched, but one of the ones I heard is that people were complaining that it was taking too long for product to get to their hands. And I was like, well, congrats. Now you just don't get product at
Yeah.
all. Because you didn't want to wait. Now none of us
Yeah.
get fancy cards.
I have a friend he bought a couple years ago. I would say about 3 years ago. They released a secret lair, the flip deck, the chaos deck. It was
Mhm.
a commander deck, 99 cards, the flip deck. It was a custom. Everything was double sided. Everything was revolving around flipping coins. That was the first time they did a commander deck. It took him almost a year to get it
Mhm.
because it was so mishandled. So he paid God knows how much for it, and then it took him a year just to get it. It was about $100, give or take, and
Oh my
he
God.
he had to wait a year for it to show up. And so, but I think that I heard arguments on the other side of it saying that it was hurting um, value. The people are buying these as an investment. You know, the card game blew up
Mhm.
in the last 3-4 years, and that's when the secret layer started changing. If you think about it, so right around that time, it started changing it to this, limited quantities. Now it's like it's a business. Sadly,
Mhm.
a lot of the people that are buying these and no lie, I mean, we've all done it. Yesterday, as of recording, this is June 10th, June 9th. The Final Fantasy Secret Lair came out, and there were limited cards, limited product, and 4 hours later, I was able to get two.
Dang.
Ooh, so you
One,
actually
one
got
in
something.
Japanese. I was there. I was there at 11 a.m. As soon as it hit go, I added to cart. I waited and waited in line for 4 hours.
Oh
And then when
my
I got into the cart,
gosh.
they told me your English version of the weapons version is gone. You can only get it in Japanese. Again, I am not. And my wife was telling me because when you live with somebody enough, you kind of get into the same fandom. She was like, "Look, the language won't matter. You know what these cards do. as long as you're a fan of the art, then what does it matter? And I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't care. I'm gonna pick these up because I love the art. I'm a fan, and I know what these cards do. Right? I don't need to Plus, the internet exists, so it's not like we can't look these things up.
Yeah, I have a few Japanese cards in the decks, and I either just like write down what they are on like a blank card, like those like ones that you can use for tokens, and I just keep them with my tokens, or I just look up my decks on Mockfield. Like, it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal nowadays, But point is, what I'm getting to is that this was people say this was mishandled because as soon as those things went live, I just kind of went, you know what? Let me look at TCG Player, which is where they sell cards aftermarket. Stuff was already being flipped there for double the price, triple the price. And I'm like, it pissed me off because I was like, man, my buddies and me, we have our own play group. There's my trophy for my CBCL, my Commander League, the Cardboard Champions League. I'm the current champion.
Hey.
Yes, I am. But we were upset because we're like, hey, you know what? It kind of sucks because I just wanted the cards. I'm a fan of Final Fantasy, and it's great to have these treatments. As a fan, I'm not looking to invest. I'm not looking to sell. I just really want to have these cards because I'm a fan, which leads into things like the fandom being behind it because Magic, the Final Fantasy, is bringing in so many new players because of this, but it also scares away people if you think about it. What are your thoughts, Bones? Because now it's kind of scaring people away from investing in this game, which is expensive to play.
I am very torn in terms of like kind of everything that's going on with Magic right now. Mostly because I feel like it's too much. Like, I like the idea that Final Fantasy is bringing in new players, right? Like, it is refreshing and it's a good way. I think, like, truly, I think it's not a bad thing. Like, I love the fact that players are coming in, and it's not 100% my statement. I think it was Ben Bateman who said it first. But the problem is that we're not giving anything for them to stick around for, and we're not giving anything to the fandom that exists right now. So I'm looking at the schedule release for Magic the Gathering coming up, and like I'll admit this, I'm not the biggest Final Fantasy fan. It's more my brothers, and I think by the time I was like playing video games, I was very big into Kingdom Hearts and Devil May Cry. So it just was not one of those games that was ever really on my radar, other than like the Final Fantasy VII movie. I was obsessed with it because my brother showed it to me. But like as of right now, I'm not buying any of the cards. I was not part of the secret layer thing yesterday, and I just saw the like the what is it, the fallout of everybody afterwards. Just like it took over my blue sky and my feed, and I was kind of like, whew, thank God I wasn't in on that. But I'm looking forward to the schedule. So I'm gonna get Edge of Eternities, which is a Magic the Gathering set, and people are torn about that because it's going to be more space themed. But I was like, it's a multiplanar universe. Like, it 100% could exist. And then we're getting Spider-Man, if I'm incorrect in that order, but we're getting Spider-Man.
Yeah, then
it's
Avatar.
And then we're getting Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh man.
So sounds like you're going to be playing Magic if you love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender too, so I know I will be excited for that set. But between now and then, I have one set that's coming out that I actually care about. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to draft it because it's a premium product. It's going to cost me more to go draft. So I'm not drafting on Fridays. I don't really have things to like talk about because I'm a Vorthos player in Magic, which means I'm very big into the story. Like, what got me into Magic is the characters and the stories. Chandra, my girl.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I am getting sets that don't have stories behind it. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, I'm just going to twiddle my thumbs until Avatar: The Last Airbender. And thank God I like Avatar. If not, I was just out of Magic until next year.
So I have a question, right? The thing is, and I know you don't follow Magic closely, but there's been a big concern, right? I would say in the older crowd, especially people that are just hardcore Magic fans of Universes Beyond, is this idea that they'll bring in other licenses into the world of Magic, right? And so they'll bring like Avatar. They brought in SpongeBob. They're gonna do Spider-Man. Yeah. SpongeBob, Transformers, My Pretty Pony, My Little Pony,
Deadpool,
My Little Pony. There's a lot. and it's gonna continue. Okay, this is gonna continue, and they're releasing so much product. What is it, Bones? Every 3 months we have a new set, pretty much dropping. Less.
Pretty much. It's I saw the meme the other day, where it's like a kid like drowning and then there's like one kid over here and then the joke is like there's a king underwater. That was
Yeah.
like the kid drowning was Final Fantasy because of Spider-Man, and then the king underwater was Aether Drift. I was like, I loved Aether Drift, and it's just like gone. Like it's not a thing anymore. And I would say, for those who don't know, I think the big shift that has people very concerned is that it is now standard legal. So up until Final Fantasy, we would get all these special treatments, and like even Lord of the Rings, it was like a special thing that we had, but you wouldn't see it in standard play. So you wouldn't be able to go draft it like in legal tournaments and things like that. And the idea that Wizards is putting forward is that by making these new universes beyond standard legal, is people are going to be excited about seeing, like Lord of the Rings, and then they would go to their LGSs and people aren't drafting Lord of the Rings because it's not standard. So giving people like time to see these cards in like standard play, which I was like, I had no problem with all these special treatments. I am interested in how it's going to shape out putting it into standard.
Yeah.
So I come from a school of, I remember when we had less product, core, every other year released. You know what I mean? We had enough product that sat, we played with. The standard itself will rotate appropriately, I felt at that time. And then Wizards of the Coast just kind of lost their shit in the last 5, 6, 7 years. And everything from Dungeons and Dragons to Magic, I feel like we had so much product coming right behind each other. I used to follow the story. I used to buy the fat packs that had the novel, and I would read like Dissension, and I would understand who Rakdos really is as a being, and I would understand all the planeswalkers and read the comics, right? The online comics we had for like following when I took a big break, so I came back during I want to say World Wake, Zendikar, all that, the original Zendikar run. So everything from the Hedrons to learning about the planeswalkers and how they go from plane to plane, like the story was so rich. And so now that we have these universes beyond, it takes away from the fantasy of what Wizards of the Coast was known for all their D&D stuff, their Magic stuff. And so I feel like we're losing that, I hate to say, that magic that brought you in under that fantasy. And not to say I can't play around it, because I don't play standard. I play singleton, I play EDH. That's what I enjoy playing, and I draft, right? But it does put you in that predicament of like, you, especially as a creator, you kind of go back and go, man, like there are original ideas out there, especially coming from Wizards of the Coast. It feel like you just lose now. It just feels like a money grab. It doesn't feel like the joy of the game isn't there anymore, right?
Yeah, and I would say that like I mean, obviously I'm not affiliated with Wizards in any way, and what do I know about business strategies of like, I don't think this idea of having it in standard is bad in terms of like bringing in new players, because we saw that with Lord of the Rings. There were so many people who wanted it. I would just like to like maybe limit it to 2 a year. Have one like at the beginning of the year, one at the end of the year, because this is the thing I was going to say about Ben Bateman that he said, is that we're also not giving people any reason to stay for Magic. So we're introducing them to Magic using, Final Fantasy and the thing that they're interested in. But what are we giving them to stick around? What is going to stop them from the moment the Final Fantasy is done? They're just like, okay, well, I don't care about Spider-Man and Avatar: Last Airbender and the 8 things. I'm going to keep playing with these cards. Rather, if we do like a set, introduce them and have multiple Magic the Gathering sets with stories behind it, we might be able to like hook them in a little bit more, and then give us fancy cards and treatments and, all the universe beyond stuff.
God, this is
It's a
so
trip.
much. Like, just from this conversation alone, as like someone who's not delved, I want to get into it now, just to kind of see the whole world building aspect of it, because I come from a D&D background. That's my Wizards of the Coast side that I'm on. But every time I see Magic, I'm just intrigued by the whole fantasy story aspect. I'm a story person too. I love the story. And then I hear SpongeBob's like in it? Like how are we intertwining that into gameplay and just and versus storytelling? It's intriguing to me now.
So I think SpongeBob
Wish.
was just a
Oh, go ahead.
secret layer.
It
Like
was a
rather than
secret
it
layer.
being like, standard legal, I think it was
Okay.
Yeah, but
just
here's an
like you
example.
could get fancy cards of it and like
Yeah.
Deadpool. Yeah.
Like Strixhaven was our Harry Potter one, right? Like that was pretty much
Yeah.
Harry Potter, right? That was
Yeah.
Harry Potter. So in my eyes, when I hear Avatar: The Last Airbender, I'm like, first of all, as a player, it would be so easy to say, okay, we have attributing elements and colors. Where's black come in? Like, are we gonna have Chandra show up? Like, I wish we had the planeswalkers go into these realms, like interact with them. That way we can build upon those stories, like you said. Like, let's use Final Fantasy as an example, since it's the biggest thing right now. Let's just say somehow, some way, they allowed them to actually make an arc, a story arc with the Final Fantasy player characters, with the planeswalkers somehow, and then that story keeps going. Let's say next year we get another Final Fantasy set that bounces off of that. Keep these characters going, but maybe it's a licensing thing. It's some kind of like business deal
Square.
that
I
stops them
wouldn't
from
be
happening.
surprised if it's a licensing thing. And like that's like the other side of it, is that because we are using different IPs, we're getting charged for those IPs. Like
Hard.
I actually haven't like really looked in heavily into the Final Fantasy because it's just not a set
My
that I
Father's
really
Day and
care
birthday
about.
gift is the commander deck. My wife let me buy
Dang.
2 of them. She goes, that'll be your Father's Day and your birthday.
Fair. I went to just a regular convention like here in Arizona last weekend, and it was the same weekend as pre-release, and they were charging $85 for the pre-release at the convention. And I went to go drop something off at our normal LGS, and they were charging like 55, which is like, it's spicy but not too bad. But I looked at that $85 and I was like, oh my God. And like there was nothing special about it in terms of like they weren't doing anything above and beyond what like my local game store does, because my local game store does like 2 packs for participating and a pack per win. And I was like, okay, well, that is so grossly overcharged. Like it's just so expensive and I hate it.
I can respect. No, I'm with you. I can respect the local game store that here in town I have 2. One of them, they had a pre-release saying, "Hey, if you want to get the commander sets, we have these available. You can purchase one. It costs like $10 more than the usual with there is no MSRP, by the way, Elia or Primos. There isn't. So
I think like Magic sets. No, it's Foundations. Foundations has MSRP.
Foundations, yeah,
One of the
but the other
sets
ones
has
don't.
it.
So yeah, which is nuts. But point is, roughly about $70 is what this is coming out at. Each one of these decks,
Gosh.
roughly. That's the baby starter price. It's jumped up now to something stupid. But point is, the LGS here did a deal which I kind of liked. They said, "Hey, all right, we want people to play. We want people to play these decks. We don't want we want scalpers to buy these. You can buy a deck that automatically you pay extra $10, 85 or whatever. It automatically enrolls you into 2 rounds of EDH at the store. So when you buy, like, let's say you bought the Titus deck, you paid $85 for it, you're automatically entered into a commander tournament. Like everybody plays 2 rounds of commander, and you get packs for winning. Every kill you get a pack, and then you get a
I'd
pack
be
for
super down for that.
like. I'm like, oh, that's fucking dope. I'm like, okay, like me and my
Reward.
son's 15
Yeah.
now. I'm like, hey, do you want to play with me? He's like, what else? He's like, oh, maybe. And I go, look, you'll get this one, I'll get this one, and they crack them right there in front of you. They make it very clear. We're gonna crack them right here, and then you'll go and play in the pool. You don't have to play, but you're giving up your packs and you're giving up the chance to play the decks. So that's what you really want to do. So I really appreciate that type of setup because it's shooing away those guys that are just trying to buy them up and resell them. So I can appreciate that. That was fun.
I like that. And then I heard through the grapevine that a lot of pre-releases were not fired well. Like they were having a big hard time with them.
Oof.
I have just been seeing like friends talk about it. Like I just saw something like, did your pre-release mess up, like your LGS mess up your pre-release? I was like, what happened? Like,
oh no.
I'm almost like just so glad that I was like, well, I don't care.
Yeah.
I think the other side is that people get way too strung up about this of like I have my feelings, of course, because like especially as a content creator, I get put in the thing of like I either don't have content that is relevant or I drink the Kool-Aid and I make content that's relevant even though I personally have no attachment to it. Which is if people do it, that's like a-okay, I get it, got to get your bag somehow. It's not for me, but it's just like I'm not going to sit here and bash on the people who are genuinely really excited. Like, I love that this is exciting for you. I just wish there was a better balance to have kind of like a little bit of things for everybody. Because one of the things that I'm kind of like a little bit sad about now is that I like going to Magic Cons for like my magic cosplays because I wear my Chandra to, Phoenix Fan Fusion, which is like the big convention here. And it's a shot in the dark if anybody plays magic
Oh.
there. But rather when I go to, Magic Cons, people get excited about these characters. Like the one that I got runner up best in show in was like a joke of I had an equipment card that I equipped to my character. And I would have people be like, "Are you like Chandra Bowser?" And I was like, "No, I'm Killer Cosplay equipped to Chandra Nalar." And having a magic person like have that moment of like, oh my
Get
gosh,
it?
you are an equipment equipped to a planeswalker. It was like really fun to see people like light up. And now I'm seeing like I saw Avatar Last Airbender cosplayers. I saw Cloud cosplayers. I know a whole bunch of my friends are cosplaying um, Final Fantasy
So
characters.
I'm gonna share your Chandra cosplay.
Yes.
Look at that. Look at that.
That's
And
like
I
my
mean,
first one too.
the one that really got me, I was like, oh shit. I'm seeing your feed here. Everybody go follow, by the way.
Yes.
Please go follow. So follow Calavera _ cosplay. Go follow. Go follow. And she drinks horchata. Horchata. We know why, everybody, because none of that. We don't need that ice.
For real.
For real, for real. Look at this one. Look
Oh,
at this, Elia. But wait for it.
stunning. Ah,
Boom.
yep, it's the same picture. Yeah.
Right?
So that's
Look at that.
actually the one I'm competing in. I'm
Yes.
revamping it.
Hell
And
yeah.
it's funny because I've like essentially torn it apart and doing some bits where I
No.
was taking it apart. I'm like, oh my gosh, like having a heart attack with like the heads on the either side of my face. I was like, if I break those, I don't have time. I don't have time to like put them up to the quality I have, but they're safe now. So it's
That's
Look at
good.
those things.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
cool.
interesting.
amazing.
Thank you.
That is so cool. And this is here, of course, talking about MagicCon. Talking about MagicCon Vegas.
Yep.
Storm is gathering. So MagicCon Vegas is exciting. I've been to a couple conventions. We went to C2E2. We talked about how it's a toss-up, right? We're thinking, hey, C2E2 is a huge, huge deal. And then me and Elia's partner, Ray, we're magic, we're just all about magic. We went there, and I don't know what happened, but they said, oh, we're going to have gaming for you. But they put us like in a little corner
Yeah.
of like just to play. And then, hey, we're going to be here all weekend. Great. That was it. Nope, you can't come back. It was just like a few hours in the corner somewhere. And I felt like, I mean, you're at a convention where everything's celebrated, right? Everything from comic books to whatever fandom, trading card games as well. And Magic, I feel like my wife was telling, my wife collects, where are they? Because this is how hardcore she collects. She collects engraved like One Piece like cards. Like she's all
Yep.
about it. Like she'll into One Piece, into Union or like other card games, and she's like, I don't want to offend you because I know you're a fan, but I feel like Magic's just kind of slowly like fading away. If it's not Pokemon or One Piece or the new hot thing, like it's fading away. I mean, I feel like the community is still there, but what do you feel, Bones? I mean, are we at the point where it's just not what it was, and are we in danger of losing Magic how it is or was at one point?
I would say the community is definitely there. It's still very, very strong. I think we're definitely in a point of flux. And I think we've been there since March of the Machines. So Ellie, I know that you don't follow Magic, but like essentially Magic's stories are 99% of the time interconnected. Like what happens in one plane kind of like will lead you into another story. And if it's not immediately, like typically somehow it'll all be connected. And March in the Machines, making sure that's the right one, right? No, it was the one after March
Yeah,
in
it
the
was
Machines.
Machines because it was Phyrexia, and then it was March of the Machines, and no, it was March of the Machines, then Phyrexia, and then Ether Drift, I believe. The Foundations and Ether Drift.
I was like, I'm gonna fact check myself before I
No, let's
go
do
out.
it. Shit, hey.
Yeah.
In full transparency. But Elia, see, like this is the thing. I would love. We talked about it.
Yeah.
You know, we want to do our gaming and stuff, and say, hey, Elia, let's jump and play some Magic.
Dude.
And it gets exciting when you introduce people to it
Yeah.
because it's so much fun. It's kind of like when you guys introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's fun.
Yeah.
And we can kind of dive into it. I just want, especially if you're a story person, it's kind of hard to sell you on, hey, this really cool character. It's a planeswalker that goes from one universe to another in Magic. But then Final Fantasy comes in and you're like, oh, well, if you like this, you don't. I don't know. It's just kind of like it's jumbled. And I feel like I have to find the right thing to convince my wife to jump back in. I'm like, hey, you like Avatar? You want to jump back into Magic? She's like, no, it's just.
Oh.
Yeah. So I will say, I think it was March of the Machines. I should not have doubted myself, but I know it's like Phyrexia all will be one, and then March of the Machines, and I usually mix those two up. But essentially, Magic's had these big baddies for a very, very long time called the Phyrexian Praetors. And they've shown up before, they've been defeated, and they've been working towards this like pinnacle. So March of the Machines was the end of this overarching multi-year story that was the Planeswalkers and, like the Phyrexian Praetors. And it kind of was like the world breaking, like stop to everything. And that just naturally put us in a point of flux. And that's like one of the things that we talk about in the podcast with my husband, because he is an HR person and he knows how to do interconnected things. It was a good launching point for kind of like introducing these newer concepts. So I feel like us as Magic players, we've been entrenched in a story for so long, and then all of a sudden that story is done. And we are starting to introduce the other stories. So we're already in this kind of like, oh my gosh, everything's changing, blah, 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 blah. And then we're adding more changes on top of that. Because I was actually looking at the list right now of the orders of things that have been like released. And I started playing I started playing Kaldheim was the first one I played, and then kind of like was in and out. And I don't consider myself a real Magic the Gathering player until Kamigawa, because that's when I started like drafting and I was invested.
Sure.
But like I started in Kaldheim, which was February, and then there was a remastered set, and then there was Strixhaven, and then Modern Horizons, which is a special set, and that was June. So already from February to June, we've had 5 products.
Yeah.
And then we got 2 D&D sets. We got the Adventures in the Forgotten Realm Commander set that came out in July 2023. So that was a special product because it's just towards the format. And then we got another D&D set, which is Adventures of the Forgotten Realms as well, which was July. So those came at the same time. But we got Innistrad, Kamigawa, Capenna. So all this is like Magic, like stories. And then you hit after March of the Machines. We go March of the Machines, Lord of the Rings, Commander Masters, Eldraine, Ixalan, Murders of Karloff Manor, and then we got a Clue game for some
Clue one, which was, by the way, my friend bought the fucking Clue thing thinking he's gonna. This is a guy that buys them because he wants. Oh, there it is. The Clue game. I just wanted the cards. I just wanted the cards. I don't need to play Clue with Magic characters. I just the cards. But he got his hands on them. I couldn't. So
yeah.
That was like a quarter though.
Yeah, and like so like it there was like some stuff like sprinkled in there, but then like you look at what's coming out this year was like I did Foundations, which was just like a way to help Standard. Like we needed more staples out there, so it's kind of like you can play with these cards for the next 5 years rather than it rotating out yearly.
Which I like.
Helped people a little bit. So we had Foundations, we had another remastered set, then we got Aether Drift, which I liked, and then we got Tarkir, and then we're doing Final Fantasy, Edge of Eternity, Spider-Man, Avatar: Last Airbender, and that is June, Final Fantasy. Edge of Eternity is August. Spider-Man is September. Avatar: Last Airbender is November.
There's
We're
plenty of
literally
magic,
getting
Elia.
one thing out every month, and I did not realize that was 100% the like set release.
Wow.
That is so much.
That is a lot.
Oh my gosh.
That is a lot. I mean, I'm intrigued by everything that's not a licensed IP, but then I'm also very curious how to incorporate those into fantasy gameplay for sure.
I think they'll just be standalones. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think we're going to get stories with them. We're just
Yeah.
going to get the treatments, which
Yeah.
I said, like,
Yeah.
it's, I hate to like rag on it, but it
No,
almost feels a little bit disappointing as like a fan because of what I fell in love with is changing so drastically. And on top of like the story ending, you know, and I don't feel like we've gotten that next hook, that next thing. Like they've kind of started talking about it with um the omnipaths. Like this is how we're starting to set up the next story. But I was like, are we gonna get a story? Are we ever gonna get a big story again? Because that was so cool to have, you know, planeswalkers from their own stories and have their own stories, and they come into the Gatewatch and then they have a big bad, and then you're like, hey, the world's saved, and they're like, well, psych,
I was
there's
such a
bigger
huge fan
bads.
of the Planeswalkers fighting the Eldrazi and all that. Like I was just a huge fan of that. So yeah, like it's overwhelming. There's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack, you know. And I feel that how this is going, and I'm kind of like we're gonna take a quick short here break, Primos, to take a little break here to reset. But uh, final thoughts on this is you know, final question I should say. The price point to get into this, which kind of roll over into other things, but into gaming in general, right? And Magic and any trading card game, even video games, right? We start creeping that way.
Mhm.
Like the point of entry is getting more and more expensive to just jump into these things. Yeah,
Mhm.
I know you talk about gaming, right? Things like
Yeah.
that. Even in D&D, shit, I didn't realize like it costs money. I
Yeah.
got an email the other day, like I'm trying to like, so like, what do you all think, or do you think that we're at the point where we have to start kind of like guarding it or like kind of making noise because we're gonna get priced out? Elliot, what do you think?
Oh yeah, I'm always down for making noise about getting price out of something that is enjoyment. That can definitely be done at like something more reasonable. Everything's gotten so exclusive lately, or just pay to rent a lot. And it's just like, let us have fun.
Mhm.
Like I don't
And like
know.
it's such an interesting thing because like most of us are willing to just like I am no stranger to spending a ton of money on cards. Like I have
Mm,
all the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive of Chandra.
yeah.
Like that is just like it just feels so much and it's so aggressive that if they were to change like their whole thing is they stopped panning to the player and they are panning towards the collectors now, because my husband had a point that he's like, why don't you do those chase cards in like just play boosters? Like it sounds silly, but could you imagine one, how cool it would be that if you open a pack and you open that cool, you know, chase card while you're drafting,
Yeah,
that makes a very memorable moment.
Yeah.
But how many more people would go to draft being like, I can go hypothetically crack this? And I feel like it would be a little better for like the player experience, because all the nice things now are in collector boosters.
Mm.
Like you can get some cool things, but any of the like super cool stuff, you have to pay for collector booster prices, which is insane. I don't even know what Final Fantasy ones are at right now.
I'm a Yuriko player, and they have a Final Fantasy Yuriko that I want because it's one of the characters in Final Fantasy VII. And I'm bummed because it's only in collectors. You know what I mean? The full art
Mm-hmm.
and alternate art, like things like that we talked about earlier on with the Secret Lairs. It it goes from collecting, but I'm a fan. I'm just a fan, and I want to just geek out at some cool art that I can enjoy as a fan. I don't need to resell it. I'm not gonna fucking expect this to be inherited to my kid. You know, like it's not realistic here. I just want to have fun. I mean, I'm bummed because I know that I'm not gonna be able to get my hands on those things. I mean, collectors
Mm-hmm.
boxes are going for $800
Good
in
I was
grief.
some
just looking
places.
up the prices and I was like, this is ridiculous.
Oh my Lanta.
Yeah, at that point, like everyone's been talking about don't buy product, buy singles, and like that's just like how it has to be. But I totally agree with like this idea of everything has to be collector. I'm like, it doesn't. Like I'm a Chandra stan. I love it. Like I love her. I went to Japan and 90% of our Japan trip was just going from game store to game store so I can collect as many Japanese Chandras as possible. And one of the things for our 5-year anniversary, Eli, I don't know if you can see it, but got me my uncut sheet. See if I can
I see it there. Yeah,
Yo.
look at that.
And he specifically
That's
got
so
me
cool.
the I think it's the War the Spark one because it has Chandra in it. Funny enough, my father-in-law actually made the frame for me. And I had a whoopsie moment where the old frame, he got it like super cheap because there was like a tiny wrinkle at the top that you couldn't even see, but the frame had a crack in the back and it was a metal frame. And when I moved it to try to hang it one day just to not have it on the floor, the tension snapped both panes of glass. So I'm sitting there being like, oh my gosh, this is like a $400 product that's just like layered in glass and I can't get it out. And like there's like a little bit of damage in the back. And like I told like a friend who is a collector and he was just like, oh my gosh, the resale value is like, I'm never reselling that.
Yeah.
Like I'm
It's like, that's mine.
this is mine. I'm like, I have no care
Yeah.
that it is in pristine condition because like it would be a lot for me to get rid of it.
I don't know. It's crazy. But Primos, let's take a quick break here. We're going to get some music by Sin Color. Hang tight, Primos. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Primos. Thank you, Sin Color, for the music, as always. Go check out at Sin Color Music. Their music is amazing. Tricia, she is a fellow Salvadoreña, so go support Primos. Give her a follow at Sin Color Music. Thanks again, Prima. All righty. So we're talking a little bit offline, Primos, and how we usually talk about our recommendations, kind of what we're into. But Bones said that she's currently on another TCG kick, besides Magic, because Magic's the hero here. But Bones, fill us in. What TCG are you talking about? You said that you can wear something. I'm curious. Please tell the Primos, what are you into?
Yeah, so obviously Magic will always be my first love. But I was laughing with my husband that this kind of came at this like perfect time of like we are in this like bit of a Magic limbo because again, neither of us are big Final Fantasy people, but we just went to that convention here in Phoenix and we were walking around the gaming hall and we stumbled across a booth that's called Worn Wanderers. So essentially it is a wearable TCG. So your characters are pins. So I have like a War Mage here, a Thoraxicore, and like these are your characters. And then these are actually cards. So think Magic the Gathering, like power, toughness, abilities. So poison, death, touch. Once you play Magic, you say everything in Magic terms. But what we liked about this is that we actually went to go see the Hobbits because they were here. And we were in line for like 2 hours because Hobbits. And we had bought in these and we had like set them up and we just looked at each other and we're like, all right, you want to play? Because it's super mobile. So while we were in line, me and my husband just tried to figure this out and we like kind of started deck building. So you play with up to 6. So obviously we only have 4 because we committed that weekend, but your goal is to fight each other. If it's a 2v2, it's the first one to get loot. If it's a 4v4, it's your team times 2. So this would be 8. So your goal is to get down to the loot cards.
Oh, okay.
So that was like a 2 loot. This is like a 6 loot. So you can find somebody around the convention that just has this, and you feel like, all right, let's get like a quick game in, and you can decide who goes first. And you're like, okay, well, like my Thoraxicor hits your guy in that corner, and they're like, well, this has got this special ability, so mine will die, but yours won't. And what I find really cool about it is they have a trap mechanic, which I find really cool. So like traps are based on like when you reveal them. So I have a sneaky little trap combo, and honestly, like they're not that expensive. Like it's $20 for the starter packs. And you
Yeah.
get 2 characters, and then booster packs are $15. And there is lots of like deck building inside of it. It's a little bit newer. So I know it started on Kickstarter,
Nice.
and I think it just started last year, but they're about to launch their second Kickstarter. And I was just like, this is just a good like little idea of like, it's quick, it's fast, it feels very magic-y in terms of like how certain things like interact, but you don't have to sit down and commit to 4 hours of gaming. Like you can just
Yeah.
get some fun games. So like we took the
Yeah.
public transportation down,
Wow.
and we played the whole way back. That 20-minute like light rail was super fast. And
Cool.
if it's Clemency Gaming, I believe is the company.
Yes.
One
Yeah.
of the people at the booth will walk around with like a raid boss, like backpack. So if you find them, you can like take down the raid boss. And we actually competed in a tournament for the first time. I think I did decently well. I went 2-2, and I'll take that.
Hey.
But like everything was like even as like somebody who had just picked the game up the day before, they were close games. Like I was looking at it, and like everything came down to like 1 or 2 loot. Like it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I just sat there and got rolled over for hours.
Yeah.
But like I had a good time playing, and it was like a toss up on who would win every time. And I was like, that
That's
is very
cool.
nice to feel.
Such
And I
Worn
just,
Wanderers.
That's such
It's
a
cool. I mean, the
great
website's there.
concept for
It's so
conventions.
cool.
Are you kidding
Mhm.
me? That's
Perfect.
amazing. The way I would get so excited walking around a con and seeing someone else that has it, like, all right, let's go. Like,
yeah.
oh,
And
that's
like,
so
it's like
cool.
10 minutes. And like
Yeah.
if you play more, there is, like you play more, you can have like longer games.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it was like a quick, just like, all right, let's go. And
that.
there's a lot of like, you can change things up. Like it's not like once you do it once, it gets repetitive, because you can
Yeah.
pop these pins out and you can switch all of these guys to, oh, I got new cards. I want to, make this new strategy and things like that. Like my husband just got a new character. So he was just like, yes, we will be revamping this. And I was like, I'm
That is
not
really
ready for what
cool.
you're building. It's going to be gross.
I like it. I like it a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, Bones, you must go to cons a lot, obviously, because you're doing cosplay as well. I know we
Mhm.
didn't talk a lot about it, and we did show some images, but you know, what got you into it? Like, was it a particular fandom, or maybe I know we're all anime weebs here. I'm not gonna hide it. I love anime.
Yes.
But what got you into it? Kind of to start off and kind of put yourself out there with cosplaying.
I would say it's definitely something I've always wanted to do. So I am originally from Obregon, Sonora. So like I know I'm in a Mexican vanilla here. But my dad, actually, who is the American, made it a very, very strong point, first and foremost, that I be with my family for like the first year of my life. I learned Spanish. And I got to know that side of the family more because there was an international border. And like so much so that I don't think I actually met his side of the family, which was in Boston, until after he passed away. I was like 13. He was like,
Oh.
my family's
Wow.
American.
Yeah.
Like she'll connect with them immediately. She was like,
Yeah.
rather an international border and a language barrier is harder to overcome if we don't instill that in her like now. So I'm from Obregon, Sonora, and then I went and lived in basically Yuma my entire life, which is very small, not a lot of conventions, especially when I was growing up. And I've always been very, very into anime and very into the nerd life, mostly because of my brothers, because they watched a lot of anime when they lived in Mexico. They're big, obviously, Dragon Ball Z fans.
Obviously, I mean,
Based.
Goku's
Yeah.
Mexican, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what that's canon. So yeah.
I mean, once the creator died, the cartel stopped for a day, and I don't know. Like, that is to
Listen.
tell you how much of a fan we
Yeah.
are. It's crazy.
The cartels
But
took a day, to El Día de Luto for Akira, So
it's wild. But like, one of my favorites is Caballeros del Zodiaco Saint Seiya. My cousin for her birthday bought me a whole box set in Spanish because it sounds funny in English to me, or in Japanese.
yeah, the
even.
dub
Yeah.
is way better, always better in Spanish, man.
It
Like I
is.
love it. I even right now we're watching Blue Lock, and I said put it in Spanish. I can't watch Blue Lock. It's a soccer anime. It has to be in Spanish. Like I
Yeah.
can't watch it in English.
Yeah.
So like I've always been like really into anime and video games and things like that. And my mom actually is an artist. She, when my dad was sick because he had cancer, she actually went back to school and did a lot of like art classes, and essentially she couldn't get her associates because they just didn't have the actual final accreditations for it for her to be like things. So I've always just grown up with art and like crafty, and obviously we're Hispanic, so we're resourceful out the yin yang for some reason. Like, if there is a way to do something, I will figure it out. It does not matter. Like, I don't have to do it the right way. Ideally, I want to do it the right way, but like, I will give me enough time and I will figure out a solution to a problem. So once I moved to Phoenix and met my husband, I make the joke of like, we umbrellaed together because he was big into Magic the Gathering, big into Dungeons and Dragon, and he got me into that, and I got him heavy into anime. Started him
Nice.
off with, classics, Samurai Champloo, Cowboy
Oh.
Bebop.
Yes. Yes.
Started him with good top tier animes, Samurai 7. And
Yeah.
we went to our first convention with our friends, and I remember being like, I think I could do this. Like, I'm looking around, and lots of closet cosplays to start off with. Just did a bombshell Harley Quinn because I was big into Harley Quinn. And I went once, and as I like started learning more about it, I was just like, no, like, I actually think I can do this. Like, am crafty enough to figure out the process of like how to build props, how to do X, Y, and Z. I'm not much of a sewer, but like, I was like, give me enough YouTube videos and I'll figure it out. Chandra cosplay was actually like my first big cosplay I've ever made.
No way.
I, with YouTube, taught myself how to do simple chainmail. So all that is like hand woven chainmail.
Damn.
I'm just stubborn.
Yeah, I feel that. But hell yeah.
I was like, I had an idea in my head, and I was like, I'm not going to go half-assed on this. Like,
Right.
if I'm doing Chandra, I'm doing it, and I'm having chainmail, and like, it's just been this like crazy wild ride because I definitely wouldn't have been able to do this without my husband, because he is the most supportive and like amazing person in my life. Of never once did he ever look at any of this and be like, well, that's a waste of your time and talent. He was just like, you want to cosplay? Like, you do it. You do it to your 100% best. And like, so much so that I've like now doing this full time.
Yo.
And it's like wild to think of my husband being like, yeah, no, just stay at home and be artsy
That's so
and
cool.
make
I
stuff.
know. Amazing.
He was like, go ahead, start your business making rugs, like tufting rugs, because
rug
thought
tufting.
it was fun.
Hell yeah. Oh,
What is rug tufting?
Yo,
You
What
can
is
make
that?
rugs.
you can make rugs. Like, people have been making like custom rugs. It like, it's a skill. Like, it is definitely a skill. And it like, but it's so cool. Like, the nerddom has like stepped up to like, they get these guns and you get yarn or something. I don't know the process because I don't know anything about it, but I watch them being made. It's the coolest thing ever. People design them, people put spin on characters, people do custom work. It's so cool. Like,
I just want a Mexican
Trying-
blanket with like a feral animal on it. Like I want like
Oh
a,
my
like a
God.
wolf killing something else.
yo.
Like, I want that. Can you make that happen? Elia, what
Probably.
if the podcast invests in that gun and you learn, can you start making cobijas for us?
Oh my God. With what time?
Cobijas, but I think this is the rug that I just made my friend. So like, I like did it once and I was like, this is fun. I sent it on Instagram.
Okay.
I was like,
Okay.
I was like, oh, I could like, do this as like a custom rug, sell one rug here, sell one rug there. Cause my husband's like, you don't have to make any money. He's like, my goal isn't to let you do
Let me
this
share it here.
so that you can make money. He's like, my goal is so that you could do it because you want to.
Hell
And I
yeah.
was like, I enjoy making the rugs. Like I did it once on a date with him and I was like, this was great. I loved it. And I can definitely
Oh my God.
That's not just a rug. Oh my gosh, with shading? Girl. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Give me enough time
that
and I'll
is
figure
so
something
cool.
out.
Yo, it's power to you. That's heckin' awesome.
I want a
Oh my
Pokemon
God.
rug.
What do
I
you
mean,
want?
I want every rug.
I
Oh
made
my
a blood
God.
seal. My first rug for myself was the blood seal from like
Oh
Full Metal
wow, that's
Alchemist.
cool.
Oh
Yeah, from
my
Alchemist, yeah.
God.
Yeah.
That is so dope.
No,
Wow,
it's heckin'
that is
cool.
so cool.
That's amazing.
Rug tuffing? What's it called?
Yep.
Tufting.
Rug
Yeah.
tufting.
Tufting. Damn.
Yeah.
Bones, man, you are making things. You are doing
Yeah.
things. I mean, speaking of anime, so Eros de Zodiaco are like that's like your top. That's like your on your list of top 5, top 3, or what?
I definitely would say it's like top 5 for me. It's I know a lot of people won't give it the time of day because it's like made in like the 80s. So
Melodramatic novella.
yeah, it was like in like art styles and things like that, like and like pacing. So like I know some people are gonna be like, absolutely not, I can't handle it, which is fair. Just go watch the movie that they made of the like Athena arc. It's not the best, but
Yeah.
like it gives you. Don't
Yeah,
watch the live action. Don't watch that. That was
I did. I
Oh,
did.
I did too.
did.
It was bad, but they had like
It was bad.
there was like a 3D animated one that they took the whole like Zodiac arc when they go rescue
Yeah.
Athena. That wasn't too bad. Like that was actually like entertaining and the graphics were cool. But I would say I like top for me is always Full Metal Alchemist. I just love it. I started collecting the fancy editions back here.
Nice.
In terms of like actual manga versus anime, one of my tops is Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles.
never hear anyone talk about it. I love
Like,
it.
he woke up and it's like, I'm part of the podcast.
Oh my God, Tsubasa. No.
That's what this is right here. I'm trying to work my way to fix the whole collection. I think I'm at
Yeah.
17 right now.
Hell yeah.
And after 10, it's hard. It's really hard. And like 26 for some reason gets into like $80 for the volume. And I was
My
like,
God. Yeah, it's like, do I need to eat? Do I need groceries? Yeah.
do I need to finish this series? The answer
Right.
is yes.
Yeah.
But let me see what else. I'm really big into Fire Force right now.
Okay.
Fire Force, I'd never finished it, but it was fun.
I
It was
haven't
fun
gotten
so
to
far.
start it yet, but I've heard great things. So
It's like, and I would say like it's not a bad time to hop back in because the final season is happening.
Ooh.
And it is the same creator as Soul Eater.
Fun. I like Soul
Yeah.
Eater.
Mhm.
Even
Mhm.
Soul Eater, the other Soul Eater that came after that. Me and my kiddo watched it. But recently for me, I finished Kaiju number 8. To love
Okay.
Kaiju
I have
number
not
8.
seen that one yet.
So good. So good. If you love Kaiju and Shonen mixed together, it's
Yeah.
awesome. And then recently someone recommended to me, there's 2 of them. Demon Lord 2099, which
Okay. I don't think I've heard of that one yet.
apparently a demon lord gets resurrected, 500 years go by, magic and technology from 2 different earths meld, and so he needs to get a following to become powerful, and he does it by streaming video games.
Oh my God.
So
Word.
anime, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
so anime.
like,
I
okay.
could get behind that.
Yeah.
I could get behind that for sure.
Yeah. And then the last one he recommended, which I haven't really gotten into because the animation throws me. It's 3D, like computer 3D, but not
it's like Ruby?
obnoxious. Yeah, like Ruby.
Yeah, I'm
Not
not
like
a big
that.
fan of that.
Me neither, but he told me the premise and I was intrigued, but I couldn't sit through the episode and I had to back away. The premise is that people become superheroes because of their following online. And apparently depending on likes.
I've heard of this.
Yeah,
I haven't
to be
seen
hero.
it, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently like you get superpowers and like uber powers by the likes and the social media following kind of pushing you in that direction.
Yeah.
And there's even if they don't support you on something, you lose your abilities. Or there's a scene where he wants to help somebody in danger, but he can't because his chat or his following is like, no, you can't save that person,
Oh
and
my
the
God.
body physically can't leave the apartment. Like it's like so it's crazy, cool premise, but I can't get around the animation. So forgive me, fans of To Be Hero. I just call me, I don't know, old school, whatnot, but I just can't. I can't get about the animation. Just can't do
It
it.
just has to be
Can't do it.
done so well, in my opinion. I'm also not a big fan of like the 3D animations, but that's me and my personal one.
Yeah.
Nombre, nombre, nombre. It's a trip, but like whenever we're growing up in LA, like I grew up watching anime in Spanish. I grew up watching all those things in
Mhm.
Spanish. My uncle would tell me, "Hey, cuando empieza Dragon Ball?" Like he
Yeah.
would be like waiting, like what time we gotta watch it? Because my uncle would be like, "Okay, cool." Like just watching Dragon Ball in Spanish and all those things in Spanish. Like I love how the Latino community is a huge like consumer and fan of anime in general, but yet you don't really see them in that spotlight. You know, like we don't
Yeah.
get that same like we're a hidden secret. Like we know you guys love anime, but let's keep you over here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
what do you guys think about that?
I love being
I think it's very
unapologetic.
true.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's true. But I'm very much like, I like it. Hi. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Make
think
noise.
like socials don't believe it. Like people are like, oh well, like right now, like obviously I saw a joke and I need to make the TikTok that's like, you think you can hurt me? I was a weeb before it was cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, my brothers were weaves even before that, because like I actually watched like most of my anime growing up. Like I would say like Inuyasha and Full Metal Alchemist were like the first ones that like I was like old enough to like kind of start watching and like really start like following. And like I knew that's like when I first knew it was something different, you know?
Yeah.
Because to me it was always just cartoons. Because when you actually go down to Mexico, because I would go every summer and almost every Christmas, like Saturday morning anime is like a thing. And I remember sitting there and watching Sailor Moon, Sakura Card Captor, Digimon, um, Shaman King. Like I'm 99%
Yeah. Oh
sure
my
I know the
God.
Shaman King song in Spanish. Like if you were to play it, I'd be like, yep, that's it. I know it. And like some like interesting like niche ones. Like I'm pretty sure the manga that was like about Go.
I love it. Yes, I
Yeah.
love that fucking show, Hikaru no Go. I
Yes,
love
yes.
that
Like
show.
I'm
I
pretty
love
sure
that
like
show.
that was on TV.
Yeah,
The
it
Ace of
was.
Tennis. Like that was
Yes.
just like I would go to Mexico and I was always so excited because that's where I got to watch like my cartoons and like
Yeah.
not just like morning. Like I remember watching Sakura Card Captor at like night, like multiple episodes. And I was like, yes, I need this
Speaking of like
crossword code
Sakura card captors, like I was a fucking fan. Like
because it's
but I
good.
loved I loved I love the English dub that we had, but it's not the same. The English dub that we had way back when they used to
Mhm.
actually play it on Kids WB. That's how old I
Oh
am.
my
I used to
God.
play it on Kids
It's like the
WB.
For
was it
kids or something.
four kids or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
dub.
Yeah, like that dub was good. And then years later, I'm watching with my son, and we're watching it off of YouTube because before like Crunchyroll and all that.
Yeah.
And then finally, hey, we found a decent. Let's watch the dub, and we're like, this is garbage.
I
Let's just
still
read it.
haven't watched it in English
So,
actually. Like the first time I watched Card Captors was in Mexico, and I still haven't
Mhm.
finished the series. Like, but I haven't
girl,
watched it
the
in
teddy
English.
bear. You didn't get to the teddy bear part at the airport.
No, man. And it's
That's how I am
so
with Sailor
great
Moon. I
though.
haven't quite finished it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
there's so
yeah,
many
because
Sailor Moons.
well, that and like back when I was into Sailor Moon, I think they only released up to supers in English. After that, it's like you had to go on the dark web to find stars.
Mhm.
So I still have yet to watch stars. I never like found it, and so there's a lot like of those where it's like I found their seeds in my youth, and now I have to like finish them now
Yeah.
because yeah, they're there and accessible.
And Sailor Moon's just got so much filler because it was only ever intended to be
Yeah.
one season.
Yeah.
Like it was made to be one season. And
Mhm.
then she was such a fan favorite that they're like, okay, you need to make more. And she was like, oh God.
Okay. Yeah.
We pulling a real
Ow.
Bleach here.
Yeah.
Right? Man, Bleach, what happened? Sorry, did you
Bleach.
watch Bleach, Elia?
Yeah. I didn't finish
What
it, but I
happened?
watched it.
I just did a Grim Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that. It was really, really cool. Like right after the Espada and all that, like it just fucking took a nosedive, and I was like, I can't watch this anymore. I lost so much interest, and even it was hard to sit through the Boundo arc with the vampires.
So that was your problem. You watched the Mount arc. So Bleach also had a similar problem of, and I like someone fact checked me on this. This is just what I've always been told, and like for years now, is that the creator had some like rough problems with his health or something like that. Like they wanted in some way, shape, or form production to be made faster and like than it could be. So instead of waiting for canon story, they just made up their own shit, which is
So
why
hard.
Bount is a thing and it's like so different. So when I got my husband into Bleach, I was like, you need to watch like no fillers, and like you can find it online. You can find a guide that literally says watch this,
Nice.
watch this episode, skip an entire season, watch these next 5 episodes, don't worry about these next 10. And the actual story is great. In Thousand Year Blood War,
Yeah.
oh my
So
god,
good. Yeah, I saw it.
Thousand
I
Year
saw it.
Blood
I mean,
War.
I can't not watch Bleach whenever they came back. I even bought the Union Arena decks because I was gonna play
I have
Bleach.
it
And, like
too.
I love Bleach. Yeah, I have it. I'm like, fuck yes, we're
I
gonna
have
play
the
this.
Jujutsu
So my wife, all
Kaisen
right,
one too.
Nice.
yeah. I'm like, all right. I have the Jujutsu Kaisen. I have the One Punch Man. I have the first 3 that came out, and I bought the One Punch Man one recently. Like I said, hey, we're gonna play Union
Man.
Arena as a family. As a family, we're gonna Hunter versus Hunter. You know, and we did that too, which I love, and which I don't know. People hate me when I say Hunter x Hunter because I'm not supposed to say the X.
That's
I
fine,
say
but
it
I
too.
do it too. It's too ingrained. No one corrected me
Yeah.
like early on, and now I
Yeah.
can't stop. But I'm excited for the Full Metal Alchemist one because I'm obsessed.
I love Full Metal. That was
cool.
good.
That
I
was
like
cool.
controversial take. I love both the versions of the anime.
Yeah, that was
Like,
another one that they didn't want
yeah.
to wait for content. So
Yeah.
they're just like, we'll make our
Yeah.
own thing.
I liked them both. They
But I
both had
feel like
charm.
we grew up. That show grew up with its audience. You know what I mean? Because when you
Yeah.
look at like the content and how it eventually got to the movie and how like you watch the Brotherhood and all that kind of re-rolling through it, like it hits a certain way. Like my son, he watched it, and I almost said, "Hey, we gotta watch the original and Brotherhood." Like I'm just down to watch both, just so you can get all the content, the
Yeah.
context
Mhm.
with it. You know, because I don't know about you all, but even like with gaming in general, I want to bring everybody in that I can, because I want them to experience kind of that same like
Yeah.
nostalgia, fun, and excitement, right? And you want them to experience how you experienced it, or see them freak out the first time they see Ichigo, call his sword's name. You're like, oh shit, like whoa, like you love that, or you want to break someone's heart when that scene where that scientist turns his daughter Edward
Bro.
turns her into
No.
the chimera. Like, yeah,
Oh man.
sad
Father of the
times,
year.
sad times. Father
Trauma,
of the
trauma,
year.
trauma.
Whew, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. Have you guys seen
Emotional damage.
that reel online of a girl at a con with her dad and his daughter, and she's dressed
Yeah.
like that? And the girl collapses like, no. Yeah.
Oh God, don't know how I would have reacted. But I love when people have fun cosplays like that. The one I
Yeah.
want to do is I want to have my husband do Nanami because he
Cool.
has the right like everything for it. And then I want to be the little I don't know his name. The little dude that he like grabs by the hair. Just
my
so we
gosh.
could walk around con and be like, you want a photo? Sure. Grab it.
Right? Just have that. Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
that'd be
Man.
so good.
Yes.
No, I mean cosplay is fun because it is an extension of that fandom, right? Like I
Yeah.
really enjoy that. Like I've tried to cosplay here and there, and me and my wife and my kiddo was younger, we'd go to cons and just try to, do our own
Mhm.
cosplay or just have fun. We invested in different wigs and like materials and felt and different like all these different things, and it was fun. And I love the fact that we get like to extend our fandom into that sense, because cosplay is that, right?
Yeah.
You're incorporating it into like it exists. Someone can see you and you both recognize each
Mhm.
other and you're in that same little circle. So I love cosplay and kind of what you're doing as well. It's a
Mhm.
blast because it's mixing in your fandoms, everything from anime, from magic, and then of course cosplay. My wife's handing me something. Ooh, this is an old picture. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Ah,
Dude.
yes.
Look how skinny I was. Look at that. My wifey. Look at her. and the kiddo
I
with
love
Dragon
that.
Ball. We
That's
made our
so
own little
Family
book.
cute.
There we go.
cosplay. Oh, so
There we
fun.
go.
Have
That's better.
ideas. I have
Yes.
ideas. I even have ideas
Look
for
at
like
that.
eventually once I'm pregnant. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Maternity
Oh
sheet,
man,
Roadhog.
have the kid just for the cosplay.
Dude.
But look at him. Look at him.
Yes.
That's Jimmy. That's our editor, by the way. So editor, you
Yeah,
should highlight
editor.
yourself there.
Yeah.
He edits
Freeze
our
frame it
videos
and add
now,
some pop music.
right? There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did. We had a blast. We had a blast doing that stuff, and we'll go to different cons, and uh, it's been fun, and I enjoy that. That's why when I follow cosplayers, I say, oh man, do we have the same fandom? You know, do we like the same things? And I kind of like, oh, that's cool. So
Yeah.
that's why I was excited when you came on to talk about your work and your content, because we're all primos, right? We'll talk about creating content and putting our voice and our thoughts out there, because we don't get to have that same cachet as people that are, just be honest, they're white. They have more. It's like if our voices don't mean the same thing, and that's why we do this, right? We do this show because we have a platform and we want to support each other as primos, because no matter where you're from, we're all primos. I always say that. And whatever we're creating, I'm a writer, so is Elia, and she's an artist as well. That's why I love like her book, Princesa Taco. Like I love talking to people about that book. It's a magical girl, but she's Latina, and you get to experience our culture in that book.
Yeah.
And young girls can read it and have a blast and see themselves in it. Like I don't know. I always tell you about your book, Elia, because I'm like, man, you gotta
Aw.
read this book. You gotta read this book. So definitely
Hey.
check out her book.
Yeah, I think we're at such a like interesting place in the world, especially with everything that's going on right now.
Mhm.
Of like cosplaying for me very much was an extension of myself, and like the ability to bring a character to life is so cool, and also like embody it. So like Chandra specifically for me is kind of like everything I've ever wanted to be. I was like, I have always existed in two worlds, like I'm a Mexican American, but like my mom used to yell at me if I ever like spoke Spanglish, because she'd be like, tú no eres una Mexicana American, tú eres una Mexicana, which like rightfully so, but it
Yeah.
also like compartmentalized part of my life. And now that I am not at home in Yuma and I don't have like my mom's friends, and like I don't have as many opportunities to speak Spanish, it's a muscle. You lose it. Like there's the freaking spiral that I had when I realized I couldn't say like reda. I can't say it right now because I haven't said it.
La
It's a hard
Rueda.
Like
word.
I couldn't roll my R's the way I used to. I was like, oh my God. And I had to like, I sat there and I was like, reda, like it's like trying to get back into it. And I think
I'm with you.
I realized this like moment one day where I was like, I need to be very, yeah. So like, it's definitely like a muscle. And I found myself suddenly in a world where I wasn't as surrounded by it, because I married my husband. I love him and bless his heart. He's American. And like, I had this realization of like me and my brothers see our lives very, very differently. Like they were born in Mexico. One of them was born in Peru. To them, their Latin identity is solid. Like that's never changing for them. And in fact, for them, like it's the American dream, right? Rather for me, I've always been very much a child of both worlds, because my mom and dad very, very highlighted the importance of being Latin, of being bilingual, and being able to exist in both these worlds. But then that leaves me with I am too Mexican for the Americans and too Americans for the Mexicans. And up
Neither
until
aquí, neither
recently,
allá, right? That's the whole
mhm,
thing.
you
Yeah.
got some snow that product there. And I had this like realization of, specifically when it comes to my content, I know what I look like. I understand people look at me and the last thing they think is I'm Hispanic. Like I can't help it. My mom
Yeah.
looks more Italian than Hispanic. Like we're from Obregon, Sonora. Like my cousins look like me and they're from like in Mexico, and my dad was Boston Irish, and I had this ability and opportunity to use my voice to make sure I am vocal about who I am, because I would not be the person I am now if it wasn't for my Latin and Hispanic identity. There's so much of what I do and who I am that comes from across the border. And it's not fair to me, and it's not fair to the people around me to not share that with people and to not share the voice and the privilege that I have to be a very white passing Latina. And that's why I try to like really incorporate it in everything I do. I didn't mean to with my handle, but I'm very glad I did, because like Bones is my nickname from Ultimate Frisbee.
Nice.
Like of all things. And when I was picking a handle, I wanted something like Bones, like related. And I was like, oh yeah, like let's do Calavera Cosplay. Like that'll work. It'll be cool. And then as I've like developed my brand, it is so fun and so holistic to incorporate, my Latin identity. And like Bones is really easy to go with the Day of the Dead. And like that holiday is very special to me for like variety of reasons of obviously like our ancestors. But I also got married on the Day of the Dead so that my father
Cool.
could come to the wedding. Like that was the whole
That's awesome.
idea
That's
of like
so
we had
That's
an
awesome.
ofrenda, we had all this like we did the damn thing, for lack of a better word. And it was just so nice to share that with people. And we had a family friend who had recently lost his mother, and we told everybody like, if there's somebody you want to bring to have on the ofrenda, like we encourage you to do that. And
Oh.
this family friend came up to us and was like, I am so grateful for you guys. Like it was very helpful to me and like how I'm processing things to be able to be a part of this cultural tradition and to like feel her here with me and to feel not just like she's an image, like she's here in spirit with us celebrating you guys. And I was just like,
No, for real.
No, for real, for real. Like,
Yeah.
damn.
so I was just like the easiest once I like had this like realization that like I do need to be intentional with it. Like I need you don't know something's missing until it's spoken out and like spoken out and loud about it. Like the moment I realized I hadn't had adequate representation of my Hispanic side was when I watched Owl House for the first time, which I don't know if you guys have seen Owl House.
I haven't yet.
Oh my gosh, you guys need to.
Okay.
So Luz is a bilingual Mexican American raised by a single mother who speaks Spanish. So just like all of a sudden seeing Luz and seeing her mom like have like a Hispanic accent and like interlace like Spanish words, I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is my house. And it was never a big deal. Like she just was. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is my life. Like this is my mom. My mom speaks to me mostly in Spanish. And I remember sitting watching, and there was like one point where she has to go somewhere without explaining, like ruining anything. Her mom calls her and she's like, Te amo, mi cariño. And I was just like in tears, like just hearing
Falling.
it
Yeah.
for the first time and realizing that I was like 30 the first time I saw myself wholly represented on screen. Because I've had plenty of like white representation and there's Hispanic representation, but it was never so organic. So I want
Mhm.
to be that for somebody. I want to be the person that at MagicCon someone can feel comfortable coming up to me knowing I speak Spanish and having that connection. Because like I said, you don't know something's missing until somebody says it. So I know there's magic conventions in Mexico. But it is, I don't want to say disheartening because that's not the right word, but like it feels interesting when you look at the celebrity list and most of them are Americans that don't speak Spanish. And I was like,
Yeah.
that kind of like, I get it, it's celebrities, but it feels a little unfair to your fandom that I'm sure there are people in Mexico that are amazing cosplayers that can then make that experience so much better for the next person that comes and they
Yeah.
feel seen and represented. And yeah.
No, I mean it's amazing, and like I love the passion behind it because that's what we do here, right? We talked about that. Like Elia creates her characters, I create my characters, and it's not shoving it down somebody's throat. It's just what they are. They are
Mhm.
Latinos.
Mhm.
They are Latinas. Like they are Latine. Like that's what they are. We don't have to shove it down your throat saying, "Hey, look, let's make it a cartoon of it." You know what I mean? We're not pandering to anything. This is just our everyday life. We spoke this way
Mhm.
in our home. Like my mom would broken English yell at us to not do Spanglish. She'd get mad at us. Like it's just kind
Mhm.
of like that's just what it is. And the fact that you put that passion into what you're doing, it kind of just reminds us here, the primos listening or watching as well, that that's what we need to apoyar and support. We need to, right? That's the whole thing. Like, how, why is it that Latino creatives have to work 3 times as hard
Yeah.
to get eyeballs and to buy your product, to look at what you're doing, to see the effort behind it? Yeah, like you said, Bones. Hey, we're crafty. We'll fucking echarle ganas and make it work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, we've all been there where we worked hours and hours and hours working on something, and then you notice some random creator out there that's not Latino or person of color, and they just blow up overnight. We're like, where the fuck? How? Like, but if I've learned anything about creating content and writing and creating, is that if you have the community, if la comunidad is with you, that's all you need to worry about, is just doing what's right for you, what's right for the culture, if you will. Just kind of be yourself, because there shouldn't be a label. Like, we hear that before, saying, hey, you're not Latina enough, like
Yeah.
my mom's even told me sometimes I'm not Salvadoreño enough, and I'm like, okay, great, mom. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. But I know Elia, and I don't speak for her, but I know that you feel the same way. Where
Yeah.
we're not gonna gatekeep this stuff. We're gonna
No.
tell our stories, and we're gonna put it out there. And be it cosplay, be it writing, be it artwork, be it your Twitch streaming, be it whatever it is. We just gotta make sure, primos, that we are making noise. We always talk about that. Let's make noise and put yourself out
Yeah.
there, Elia. You do your streams and you do your books. I mean, you have seen it for years working on this stuff. Like your book right now. That's a spin on something that a magical girl. We don't
Yeah.
see that. So I mean, obviously you're working on that too. And I want to just kind of use the last few minutes here of the show to kind of, I know we talked about what we're into, but Primos, just support Bones. At Calavera Cosplay as well,
Yeah.
at Spice Illustrations. Like, go look at their content. My Primos podcast, you guys know, I've been watching and listening for years now. We're all about that community. So I want to just make sure, Primos, that we are out there supporting each other, making sure that we share, like, do all those things. It's not that
Yeah.
difficult to just give somebody a share, and trust me, it helps. It helps
We use
tremendously.
one person starts to uplift, then we all uplift together, and the community gets louder and louder, and it's great. And then everyone will know about us.
No, pues
Yeah.
sí, pues
And then
sí,
I
pues
think,
sí.
unfortunately, it's like we do have to work so much harder just
Mhm.
for lack of like the things. And sometimes like we're our own worst enemy. Like
Yeah.
I've heard it plenty of times for like my own family. Like, oh, well, you're so white. And I'm like, okay, like what about it? Like I
Yeah.
can't help that this is my circumstances. And in fact, by putting up those barriers, you like keep people from wanting to do it because they feel judged and they feel like they will never be enough. So
Yeah.
then they just lose their identity completely. So I want to like try to share as much as possible because we're all different. Like, especially that was the whole thing about the secret layers, is the art is so diverse and it represents so much. Like the fact that the Sylvan Library is from Puerto Rico. Like I saw somebody in a different comment section just be like, I have never seen myself in this game or like in it. And I was like, that is what we need. We need to help each other because it's hard enough. And we don't need Latino on Latino violence.
No.
No, we don't. We got
No.
enough going on against us.
Yeah.
Elia,
Mhm.
I know we usually go down this path here, but we can do our recommendations at another time. But what have you seen right now with your book? I mean, like, I'm sure you got positive, responses from the community. I mean, shit, I'm a fan.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. No, I think, and it's really cool. I'll talk about C2E2 for instance. Like, it's a whole different market than what I was used to here in Texas, and I was wondering, like, how's it going to be taken? How is the Latina culture up there? And it's actually it made my heart so happy every time, like, a Latina family or any individual would walk by, they'd see my banner behind, oh my god, taco, oh my god, it's just like they see something that's like, that's us, that's me, that's something, and that just brings people in. It's like, dude, we have stories out there that are representing us, and it's like these works that even the smallest little instance were out there. it's just really cool to connect. Again, community is my big thing right now. I love being able to connect with more community because growing up, I didn't have community. I grew up in a super gentrified West Texas small town. I didn't know people like me. Like getting to connect with that now, especially through my artwork, which is the one thing that I love putting out in the world. I want to just keep building on that. And so having Princesa Taco now paved the way for hopefully future works. And especially Magical Girls, because Magical Girls is like, that's what got me into the art, everything. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to make my own now. And I have. And now I just want
Yes,
to
you
keep
have.
doing it. You know, I don't
And now
know.
Yeah,
It's
you're
just,
do it.
giving little girls a Mexican princess,
I hope so.
Like-
Yes.
which we still don't have one.
Yeah, I know.
know.
For
I
real.
know.
Hello? Like,
We got to make it happen. It's time.
I know.
It's time.
I know.
Well, Primos, I want to just kind of, we're here at the end of the show. I want to thank, of course, Bones for coming on. Please feel free to come back whenever
Yes.
you feel you need to work on that muscle. Aquí estamos para ensayar el español y, aquí para poder ayudar a todos los primos, because we do have episodes that are all in Spanish, by the way. El Primo Charles in Mexico, he's always jumping on talking about video games and streaming and different shows. We do 100% Spanish on those. So if you ever want, Bones, just come on the show. We'll
Would
chat
love
about
to.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like my issue half the time is that obviously I was raised bilingual. I learned them simultaneously. So when you learn a language like that, you learn it in different spots in your brain. So you
Yeah.
don't translate very well. So when I'm talking about a subject like Magic the Gathering that I know very, very, very deeply well, and I have a very extensive vocabulary in English, and then my brain is trying to translate, and I'm like, you can't do that. Like it literally
It'll be
cannot. So I sit there and I'm like, oh God.
I'm the
So
same
it'll
way.
be fun. Yeah, like feel free
I
to
would love
come
an
back
opportunity
anytime,
to
Bones.
like switch the
Yeah,
for
the
sure.
full switch over.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. That way, hey, you're on the air. You said yes, so I'm gonna hold you to
Yes.
it.
Of course.
But Primos, follow, of course, Calavera_cosplay.
Mhm.
And of course, at Spice Illustrations and the show at My Primos Podcast. Primos, of course, go support Bones. If you're in the magic bubble and realm, follow her. She has some great content. Of course, cosplay stuff is awesome to watch as well.
All
And
the
check out Elia's
events.
book
Yeah.
and all her stuff as well at Spice Illustrations. And Primos, like I always say, no matter where you're from, we're all primos. Take care of each other. Hasta la próxima. Adiós.
Como una rosa entre espinar salta, mi amor.